right. Okay, what's up, everybody? All right. We will have, kind of fill you on the next 2 days. We're going to have a lot of fun. So today's going to be a jog through. We broke the team up into two. So we have a burgundy team, a gold team, talk about players, coaches, staff, strength and conditioning, equipment, training, like you name it. And part of it is developing leaders. There'll be different play callers, as we're going through it, but it's also about competing. Different looks, different matchups, and tomorrow we'll have a burgundy and gold game. And so we'll start at 9:30. We'll play a second quarter, try to work some situations in. We'll also work of some fourth quarter stuff to work some situations. So in your mind, think of like a joint practice, but it's just one team. Like splitting the teams up, different sidelines, and then going to it. So I'll hit you up with injuries for tomorrow, who will participate and who won't. And with all that said, get it rocking with you guys. You want to start off, Adam?
Yep. Thanks, Dan. Sorry to start with an injury question, but we saw Laramie kind of maybe got dinged up a little bit at practice yesterday. How is he doing? He's going to be able to participate?
Yeah, he's doing well. He was hoping to come back, but we'll have a better sense. He'll do some today, and then heading into tomorrow, we're anticipate him being able to go. Some of that, when that happens, hey, let's be smart. Let's wait and assess it, make sure the strength's good, and but we're encouraged by into tomorrow.
And you mentioned in New England how impressed you've been by Jonathan Jones's foot speed.
Yes.
What is he kind of bringing you guys in terms of what he gives in the room, what he gives sort of from a veteran, presence kind of standpoint?
Yeah, he's such a cool person to talk about. He's got, like his entire world squared away, like off the field, on the field. And I think it's not surprising to see why he's had the on-the-field success just by the way he handles himself. As a true pro's pro, if there's something he's not sure of, he's going to ask, Jason or Tommy or Joe specifically. We've played him both inside at the slot. We call that the star here. So he's played both that position and outside. We like that he has patience to play the ball down the field. So giving that insight to the other players, sharing that information, that's a big deal. And I like that on this team, there's a lot of people that want to help one another, look after one another, teach them in different ways. And Jonathan's right there, doing that. And when you're first onto a team, it's, you're finding your ways to how to do that. And I thought he's done a remarkable job of that.
Another cornerback question, but Trey Amos, what did you like from him in the preseason opener? And what have you seen from him overall on the field since he's come in?
Yeah, a lot. And I would say at the line of scrimmage, Nikki, that's where I really feel his length, and he's patient. And, all right, what does that mean? Where he can use this length where, it's harder for somebody to get on top of him because he can stay down. Sometimes you'll see a player want to go down to press and then not feel confident and then leave. And it's like, well, don't go down in the first place to do that. So with him down the field, he's got confidence. He can track somebody. There was a play, I don't know if you saw, it was like a corner route yesterday where, he was able to defend, but he didn't foul. And I thought sometimes just playing through the hands at the last moment, I see the experience come in with him, and it just shows up. I love that Mike has a role in helping develop him along with Sean and the others, but he's really, standing strong on his own. He's been impressive for us. He loves playing man-to-man and being down and to be able to guard people. We do that some, and he's playing to his strengths.
And I know you said you'd update us on participation for guys later, but with Marcus Mariota, the fact that he hasn't been on the field much in camp, what's your level of concern there?
I'll fill you in all those tomorrow. When it's higher, or longer timeout, there's always more. When it's a long-term one, obviously I have the most concerns. But, I wish he was out here all the time. But I know that he's able to throw. He's working to the side, and we're getting closer. We're just not there yet.
Hey, Dan, when it comes to kind of figuring this, 53-man roster down the road here, when it comes to the evaluation, do you look at kind of the total body of work with all the practices of training camp, or is it just these 3 preseason games? How do you kind of judge that type of analysis?
Yeah, it's a great question, and you try to do it in totality. So in our next personnel meeting, it will include the New England game, but also what have you seen up to camp. So you want some days where you can talk through them, but you also need some space. Where is he at today? What do you want to see more of? And so you don't separate them all the way. You want to make it as comprehensive as you can. They just happen to have, more time, more exposures in the games, but no, you want to do it as the whole thing.
Dan, I'm curious about what you're going to do tomorrow. Have you done this before, and what do you?
I've been very excited about this, John. For like in the summer, you're thinking about some things to do, and I recognized there was a longer than normal gap between our first preseason game and our second preseason game. So I thought this is the ideal time to do it. I love the staff, who the makeup is, what they are, and so I also thought of them to say, let's split them, on the sides to do that. Some different play callers. We've got a great succession plan in place for when people do get big opportunities to do things. And so this is an example of trying to say, we're going to develop you here while you're here. And you have to go through those, solve problems, figure it out onto the sideline to do that. And then for the players, just, it still comes back to competing. And so different plays, different ways, how you're featuring guys. It's an important 2 days. It's a fun 2 days. And then we'll kind of get back into a routine on Thursday of kind of a leading up into our game against Cincinnati. We'll have some days where we're just competing against ourselves, but we'll get back into a more traditional one. So these 2 days for us, it's a lot of fun because it's a break from the rhythm, a break from the norm. And, just for 2 days, man, it's against each other and having fun with it.
So I'm probably excited to talk about are more injuries. But on the offensive line specifically, when you're not having Brandon out there and obviously Sam, you're still not sure yet, how do you make sure that group kind of gels? Because if those are the guys that you anticipate being out there eventually, like what's that process, and is that, I don't know about concern, but like how do you work through that?
Yeah, there's concern. I like the group though, John, and it starts with communication. What does the guard and tackle say on a combination block? What's the center and the guard? What's the tight end? How is that going? That part's just a regular standard. Boom, this is how we do it. What you're missing on when you're not all the way together, sometimes it's the nonverbal cues that you're just, when you're working side by side with somebody, we've all been there, you just kind of step into a rhythm together. So you have to be really intentional about those communications. They spend, obviously, the meeting times together, even when they're injured. But being in the moment when it happens really quickly, that's a big deal. And we'll continue to work hard to find our spaces to do it. It does happen a lot, where not, very often. I don't know many through the league. You guys would know throughout a whole season how many times does, one line play the whole time. Not that often, especially as the, extended games. So going through ones like now and today, and where different people are in and different voices, I don't mind it. I'd welcome it because it allows different chances, and you do want to find out who can shine in those spots, John, because they may not be a starter, and they know that, but I can also show I can be a backup with limited reps with that person and still produce at a high level. So there's an opportunity, but you do have to go take it.
Coach, you made a couple of roster moves today, including one guy you drafted last year in Dom Hampton. How do you approach that? I mean, I know it's maybe the worst part of your job. How do you approach that conversation?
Yes, and it is. It's a hard part of it. And but yeah, we did make that move today. And when you go through it, we were talking about, it's comprehensive of details to go, and sometimes you take it as far as you can, try to give as much support to all the guys as we can. But if it's not going to fit, we'd rather, give him a chance to go see if he can do his thing somewhere else. We got high regard for Dom. We absolutely loved working with him. But if it wasn't going to fit for us, then we want to certainly go give him a chance to go do that. And sometimes it's a little easier now than later.
To stay on that decision, you guys brought in a lot of veteran linebackers. Obviously, you signed Duke Riley. What was the decision to want to bring in more experienced guys there? Obviously, you have Bobby Wagner, but to bring in another guy with experience.
I don't know if it was experience necessarily, Ben. We just thought, it was time. And so going into it, Kane and Ale and Cam as younger players to go. Nick was more on the special team side. We don't give him a lot of reps, so we just felt like we needed another player, and so we brought some guys in yesterday at linebacker and at some other spots too, and we felt like this was the best spot now.
You didn't bring in any wide receivers. That's been a conversation, especially with some of your guys missing. Is that a fact of like we really do like the guys we have and we want to give them more run, or other factors that just decided we're not going to bring anyone in?
Yeah, it's definitely the first one. But one thing like I said the other day with Adam and his staff, like we're always going to compete and keep digging in to find if there's a fit that's good for us. We're going to look into it. But we do like, chances and things we're seeing, but you do have to push it and allow that space to happen, Ben. So we want to continue to do that.
Hey, good afternoon, Coach. I know after the game you said you want to take some time to break down tape before you commented specifically on the theme here, the linebackers and receivers. But just Kane Medrano, Jalen Lane specifically, their first NFL action, kind of what your takeaways were from their game.
Yeah, let's start with Jalen first. What I like, we wanted to, could we get a couple punt returns? Could we get, some of the team things involved for him? It was nice to see that, man, he's really comfortable in the offense and on special teams, like heading into preseason game one, David. I think that's an important part because this group of rookies has really put good work in to get themselves ready to play where you're not overthinking or, playing it slow. So he's been all that we thought coming into it, and although we're thinking punt returner first, he's developing on the offensive side probably at a faster rate as well. And then on the Kane side, he's played inside backer. We put him on the edge some. We've blitzed him a little bit. So we're still digging into it. We've played a lot of man-to-man with him on the tight ends. We love seeing what he can do that way with his size. It's been good battles with Yankoff and Bates and some others in the passing game. So it's been nice to see, the versatility that he provides, and we're going to continue to push him to find those spots to say, all right, these are the things that he does best, and, how can we feature him?
Hey, Coach, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Some may say that, it's just preseason, like Eric was, it's just preseason. So from your perspective, what is so important about the preseason?
There's a lot, and I honestly love it. I really do. There's so many things. We could talk a long time on this with Candy. There's the development of the youngest players who need the most experience. That's like, let's put that in category A. First game, usually you see trying too hard, been waiting so long to do it, and then they get back to it. Okay, it's just football. I've been doing that, and it kind of settles down into it, and usually you see like the preseason game 1 to game 2 feeling more comfortable. I also love for the players that may not be in the starting roles to show very rarely is every position group playing, all the way through with, is a clean season, but it's that demonstrated ability, like to see it in the game. And certain positions are even more valuable than others for that evaluation, like a running back or an offensive or defensive lineman, because it is in more control here where did the guy make the tackle or not? Is he able to, full-on blitz pickup or not? So those help because it gives you demonstrated evaluation in that spot. And then for the guys that will play a lot, it is important to get the full speed timing, the connections down, the communication. It just kind of heightens up some. So to me, there's like 3 different buckets of players: the first-year players who are going into the NFL, the players who are fighting for roster spots, as backups and developmental, and then for the guys that are going to play a lot and some starters to say, okay, this is an important part of it to get your timing and your readiness really together. So 3 different spots. That's why we try to customize it, which it can be a little tricky to do that. Who needs what? We try to give a lot of practice time to some players and then not as much to others, and then a lot of game. And then this week it won't be exactly the same as well. So I try to do it on an individual basis as much as I can to think of each player's readiness and also what do we need to see from them. You're welcome.
Hi, Coach. Looking at the defense, you said that you were looking at the second-year players to see how they grow and everything. Yes. Johnny Newton seemed like he had a good game in New England. What have you seen from him as far as his growth and his elevation and what he's doing now?
Yeah, I'm excited for a number of the guys that are going into the second spots. We had 2 that had, some injuries that have slowed them down, not long term, but in the short term with Jordan McGee and Javante as well. So all three of them are, you feel this energy that's taking place. Some of it's the knowledge, okay? I'm not just relying on, that talent. Now I've got skills to go with it. And I think that's what you're seeing with Johnny. He was always quick, for a 300-pounder, this guy's quick off the ball. And now you're seeing the hand use, the skill that goes with that. And that's oftentimes why that big jump takes place. It's like, now this person's talented, and then you add the skill work to it, they take off. And he would be an example of that. Thought Mikey has that. So it's nice to see some of those guys making that move. And but Johnny specifically, I've really felt like the improvement as a pass rusher. All right, thanks everybody, and we'll connect again tomorrow morning.